Peace. How's it going, Patrick? Conservative Rap. And in this video, we're going to get into more economic occurrences. Trump is calling out the Federal Reserve, which I think is brilliant. We're living in an illusionary system that they control, and Trump is showing us the path forward. Trump and the Patriots, all of them, Bissett, the entire administration. The Green New Scam is falling apart. And yeah, let's take a quick look at some more occurrences. I'm going to share this clip from Kobisi letter on X. The world is burning more coal than ever. Global annual coal demand is up to a record 8.85 billion metric tons. Annual coal consumption has surged 1.4 billion tons since 2020. This increase has been driven primarily by China, which now makes up 56% of global consumption, or 4.95 billion tons. By comparison, U.S. demand stands at 410 million tons, just 5% underneath, just 5% of the world's total. Meanwhile, IEA projects a gradual decline in demand over the next 5 years to 8.6 billion tons by 2030. However, past forecasts of peak coal demand have repeatedly proven wrong as consumption continues to rise. And it's actually showing you the graph, right? The Green New Agenda is done. Also from Zero Hedge, I thought this was interesting. 23 U.S. states are at high risk of or in a recession currently. U.S. GDP is made up of many smaller, distinct state economies fueling national growth. 2025, states responsible for about a third of GDP are in recession or face high recession risks. Another third are expanding, including Florida, based on payrolls, employment, and other key economic data. This graphic by Visual Capitalist shows recession risk in 2025 based on analysis from Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics. And what do you notice here? I see a bunch of blue states, effectively. They use red for the heat map, right? Red is in risk of recession. Green is an expanding economy. And take a look. Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida. Need I say more? Versus New Jersey, Maryland, California, Washington, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan. So the proof is, as they say, in the pudding. Let's continue on just briefly. Where recession risk is highest in America, Zandi looks at state-level economic activity. This includes a range of data such as unemployment, building permits, retail sales, industrial activity, delinquency rates, and tax revenue. States were then categorized into 3 buckets based on these factors as of October. Currently, many coastal northeastern states are facing some of the worst economic conditions. In Maine, for instance, year-over-year GDP growth is just 8.8% as of second quarter 2025, compared to U.S. average of 2.1%. Meanwhile, Washington, D.C.'s unemployment rate was 6.4% in July, significantly higher than the 4.6% U.S. average. According to Zandi, New York and California are treading water, together responsible for driving over 22% of U.S. GDP. In comparison, Texas, which was just 9.4%, is expanding. Employment rates of 4% in July remain below the new U.S. average. Additionally, Texas' economy is growing faster than the nation, while income growth rose 6.3% annually as of second quarter 2025, outpacing the national average. Unseen One put this out on X. Listen to this. The problem Trump faces on housing: if you drop the price of homes far enough, it'll destroy the economy. If you don't drop the price of homes, they remain unaffordable. This is the needle that Trump must thread. He has to avoid a 2007 Great Recession caused by falling home prices while increasing the affordability of homes.
On housing, you talked in your address last night about housing.
Yeah.
Are you still considering a national emergency over housing?
I'm looking at it.
What would that look like? What would that look like?
You know, there's 2 thoughts on housing. You have a lot of people have housing that because we have such a strong time and such a strong market, their houses are very valuable. It's a big part of their net worth, their house. I don't want to knock those numbers down because I want them to continue to have a big value for the house. At the same time, I want to make it possible for young people out there and other people to buy housing. In a way, they're at conflict. In other words, you create a lot of housing all of a sudden and it drives the housing prices down. So I want to take care of the people that have houses that have a value to the house that they never thought possible, that have sort of made them wealthy and happy, and especially in their later years. Got to be careful with that. I want to keep them up. At the same time, I want to make it possible for people to go buy houses.
Yeah, very well stated. And this is what Trump is doing. He has to think outside the box. The actually Unseen points it out. The 50-year mortgage, interest rate cuts, lower down payments, SALT taxes, that's why they get proposed. With deportations and the decline of the boomer generation, supply will increase, prices come down. The trick is not to allow them to go into free fall and keep demand high enough to soak up a great deal of that supplies. From the center square, Trump proposed 2,000 tariff rebate checks depend on Congress. So just imagine, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but how will politicians explain themselves when they come out against this? It's, it goes into kind of specifically the process. And I don't see, it's a wonderful chess play that Trump has done, because the politicians are going to have to expose themselves when this stuff comes to light next year. Just continuing on, U.S. industrial production rises at strongest rate annually since 2022. Following the stronger than expected GDP print, U.S. production also surprising to the upside, rising 2% month over month in November, pulling the year-over-year change up to 2.52%, the strongest annual growth since April 2022. U.S. manufacturing output was unchanged in November, but that better than 4% month decline in October, as motor vehicles and parts fell 5.1% month over month, while utilities jumped to 2.6%. Capacity utilization limped over 75.9% to an upwardly revised 6.0%. I'll zoom in a bit, but remains off the 2024 lows. So a mixed bag of output, up strongly as capacity utilization declines. Does that signal the productivity boost that everybody has been waiting for? Very well said. Eric Doherty on X. I love this. Breaking. President Trump is gearing up for an economic boom in 2026, and Democrats are, of course, worried. Inflation is down to 2.7%. Fuel standards roll back to lower car prices. Tariff revenues allow potential rebate in 2026. Largest tax refund ever seen. Let's take a quick listen.
Meanwhile, the Trump team points to early wins. Inflation is down to 2.7%. Fuel standards rolled back to lower car prices. Trump accounts for kids and a new task force aimed at slashing grocery costs. With me now, Jackie DeAngelis, co-host of The Big Money Show. Meanwhile, the Trump...
Again, this is the dance, a delicate one, that Trump has to do with the plan. He has to bob and weave while not crush the system. He can't just curse the Federal Reserve and go against them, because people are still used to the status quo. But as we continue to challenge things and we change into something new gradually, each time Trump is proven right, we're weaning slowly off of their control back into a truly principled free market. What do you think? Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, and check me out at ConservativeRap.com for more. Thanks and take care.